were a guy, it's gonna be 3 times as hard to be a VTuber. Count it as a hobby, and I would suggest making content on YouTube first. Find some kind of niche content that you want to make and stream it. It does not have to be with a model. Find some kind of like topic and talk about it. You do not even have to use your face. But if you're just planning on like getting a VTuber model and just jumping on Twitch and playing video games, it is going to be so hard for you because there is very little discoverability on Twitch. I wouldn't recommend just hopping on Twitch and just grinding. It's not the way.
I have... She... Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. She's right, but she's also wrong. She's not gonna say what I'm about to say. She didn't want to say it. So I'm gonna say it for her. I'm gonna say the thing for her that she was too cowardly to say. Is that if you're a woman and a VTuber on Twitch, you have many advantages in the masses. You have many different advantages. And to break this down in the layman's terms, to make this easier for people to understand, is what she's saying is that if you want to be a male VTuber, you can't even try and be the thing you want to be. You have to actively work towards something different and be something you don't want to be to become the thing you want to be. Now, the thing I do agree with is she talks about making content on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. I think that's good. I definitely think all content creators should do that, not just male ones. All of them. I think all of them should make YouTube videos, and all of them should make TikToks, and all of them should make content, Instagram, whatever the fuck you want to use, right? But if you think about this in the perspective of 110% VTubing is a female-dominated space when it comes to content creation. By a very, very large margin. We've had a handful of male VTubers climb out of the low to middle tier and make it up to the top, but we really don't have a male Iron Mouse. We don't have a male Silverveil. We don't have a male, I feel like it works right. We don't have a male VTuber at that size. There are a handful, but they haven't received the same level of recognition at all from a lot of things. There's very little recognition for male VTubing. And I think that she didn't want to say it because doesn't sound right coming from her. But when you are a woman and you are streaming on twitch.tv and you get a model made, there are certain advantages you can take that will help passively gain viewer retention via gooners. And via the psychopaths who are going to keep showing up to try and get a shot at getting in the pants. Porcelain Maid and Sayu are... they're good, but also they're not the same, right? Like they're big, but they're not to the same size, right? Porcelain Maid is large. I'm not dissing Porcelain Maid's size, but Porcelain Maid to Silvervale are two sides of a different coin. And even off the top of your head, you can bring up the two big, like, or two male VTubers, and there's some other bigger ones, but those are kind of the largest who have participated with the girls. They like the big group of women at the top, right? Like Porcelain Maid has done collabs with some of the larger women. He did a collab with one of my VTube siblings, like one time, and it feels like there's a certain point. The other thing that dog can't say, trans men even hold an advantage over trans women because people see them as women, whereas trans women mainly get people to see them as a fit. Wait. Because people see them as... Well... Nah... I see where you're coming at. Well, I'll get into that. But in just general VTubing, there's just a clear advantage point for being a woman. Like, Mythos, but they kind of exploded. Yeah, like the male to female counterparts are 10 times smaller than the female to male counterparts, and I'm gonna be honest. There's a very obvious trend with VTubing. There's a very obvious trend, and this isn't me calling anybody out specifically. I'm not gonna diss game, but there's a large pair of trends in VTubing that really help with, you know, getting a little bit of recognition. Damn it, why am I getting an ad? You know, there really is, and it helps with retention regardless of how you look at it. You know, there's a bunch of very interesting benefits that come, and again, like 904, by the way, 904 for Porcelain Maid. Are any of the big girls streaming right now? 8.8K on Iron Mouse. Yeah, 8.8K on Iron Mouse. This is literally comparing somebody we consider large in the male VTubing space to the #1 VTuber of all time, which is, you know, a wild fucking comparison. And Iron Mouse is Twitch. You are right there. But I'm getting tired of the trend to an extent because it's not creating, these models aren't getting interesting. They're putting less work into the character design than they are their tits, but like that's beyond the point. It's getting so bad that even like No Arm Watley is noticing it. People who aren't even VTubers are noticing that you're either not entertaining at all or you have giant tits as a VTuber. That's it. And people who aren't even VTubers are pointing it out, bringing it up, right? And there is a clear advantage, and she doesn't bring it up because she doesn't want to mention it, because then she would be arguing against her own growth. So I can understand why you wouldn't bring it up. It makes sense not to. But at the end of the day, she says that if you want to be a male VTuber, exactly, headshot. If it's just VTuber, cute model with giant boobs and ridiculous physics and a low cut top. And I think the main issue is that it's getting to the point where nobody wants to make an interesting model. And I can forgive, the large. I'm not going to complain that there's large tits, but it's the formula. Having large tits is the formula. I'm not complaining about it. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. But I am going to complain about the loss of creativity coming from this formula. And it's this formula that male VTubers cannot participate in, because it's one thing to join a woman's stream, and I'm gonna fucking say it. It's one thing to join a woman's stream and her voice and her model match. Her voice and her model are like, oh my God, guys. Like, oh, wow, my tits. All right. They match. Right. But when it comes to men who get a womanly model or a woman model, because some of them just have women models, it is definitely a weird experience. And it will catch most people off guard and immediately discourage men that if they bust into that stream, see a woman model, woman face, large tits, following the formula, and then you join in and you sound like this and your voice is deeper than the Grand Canyon, you're not not gonna grab as well. That's for sure. Hey, yo, Kronk. Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help and grab people, because everyone can kind of tell that you're not being genuine off rip and you're trying to follow the formula. Porcelain Maid did make it kind of work, but also Porcelain Maid has a lot going for his model in that it's less titty oriented. Deep and natural voice is bad. Uninstall and get a higher pitch. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. There is a clear, distinctive difference between a deep womanly voice and a man's womanly voice. Or man's manly voice. Not womanly man, woman. You get the idea. Y'all understand what I'm saying. All right, y'all are following. There's a clear distinctive difference. You can tell when there's an Adam's apple and not. Unless puberty really fucking ruined somebody. Unless that poor man's puberty did not help in the Adam's apple department. You can tell. I hate to say it, you can tell. Right? You can. And there are, in some cases, where this is less a thing, but it is a thing that you can tell the difference in. So being a male VTuber is beyond just, being a male content creator. It's the face, the front, the ability, the things that they say, the things that they do. And it doesn't follow the popular formula on Twitch. Cha-Cha says that there's less exposure on Twitch. Well, what she meant to say, what she should have said, is there's less exposure for men on Twitch. Because you're already against the grain. You're already fighting against the grain. You're fighting uphill battle immediately. Immediately you're fighting an uphill battle, and immediately you're already discriminated by like 3/4 of VTuber artists and people who do rigging. Because there is a point, right, when it comes to VTubing and it comes to artists, I've experienced it. I've experienced it many times as a male VTuber on Twitch, as the thing she said I shouldn't be on Twitch, right? There is a very, very clear distinction of what's happening. And you know what, with what she says and how she says it, she's literally telling you don't stream on Twitch, right? Because you're gonna catch less audience, and she's not wrong. As a male, you will. But already you're going so hard against the grain. You're fighting an uphill battle. You're not gonna be able to take part in the formula. If anything, taking part in the formula might actually discourage viewer retention, and people may be more likely to click off because they get, put off almost immediately, right? But also in the artist space, I know I repeated myself here, in the artist space and in the rigging space for being a male VTuber, I've experienced it. It's hard to get an artist. It's hard. There are artists and people who do rigging who literally will not work with you because you are a guy. They literally say in their TOS, cannot work on male models. There are some that will say, I will not draw male models. And immediately you are sent back another step in the grain, right? Like, immediately you are put further back in being a male VTuber than any. Why? Because they're bad at drawing male bodies. Maybe. Some of them just don't do it because they don't want to. Because they don't. I've seen people, I have met, talked to, and seen artists literally stop drawing male models because they don't get as many clicks. And it's a thing. It's a thing that happens. She said like an eighth of what needs to be said about male VTubing. A lot more needs to be said about being a male VTuber, right? And a lot of discrimination is in the male VTuber community. A lot of people will not like you just because you're a guy in the male VTubing. Not dissing Asmongold here. I'm not doing that at all. But a while back in an Asmongold post, I was looking at the chat. I looked at one of his Twitter comments, and one of the comments was, "At least you're not a male VTuber." Right? And so it fucks with a lot of things. Art of Men takes a lot more knowledge of anatomy. I feel like both of them take a lot of knowledge in anatomy. I think either of them take a lot more knowledge in anatomy, especially because 90% of them are drawn off of templates. That's the other big thing, is because a lot of VTuber artists, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. Your model, about 80% of the time, hasn't been drawn. It's been copy and pasted from another model they worked on. Your model most likely has not been drawn from the ground up. Your model was most likely ripped from the bottom. Making a template is hard. Making a template is hard. Making a template is really hard. But your model has not been drawn. And once you have a template, right? Once you have that template, a lot of the time, why would you go outside of it? You know? Why if you've been doing women VTuber models the entire time, right? You've been doing women VTuber model after VTuber model after VTuber model using the same base template. Why would you change that template and make a male template so that you can do male models? And then you have to do two different types of art whenever you can just immediately grab at over half of VTubing. Because I would be willing to say that 75% of VTubers are probably women. 25% of them are probably men. I feel like I can reasonably take this guess. This guess. I feel like reasonably I could say that and be not 100% accurate, but close enough. Why would I make a male template for any of that when the odds of me getting contacted by a man for a model is 1 in a million? Hell, my model mama has 2 male models under her belt. 2. She's done like 11 to 12 models. 2 of them are men. 2. I'm one of them. Like, she physically can't, like, she just isn't working on male models. So why would she do anything else, right? And it's already so against the grain, so difficult to climb up because of, honestly, male discrimination. It really is. The discrimination towards men in the VTubing space is tried and true. It's there and it's obvious. All you have to do is step in my shoes for 5 seconds and realize she also doesn't do male models, so that is not a fair thing. My VTuber mama, yeah, my VTuber mama no longer does male models. No. We had, before she updated in her TOS that she draws women, she did not have it. She did not have that in there. She added that after the fact. After the fact, after she said on Twitter that you need to keep male VTubers out of your Discords. She added that after the fact. I have been on the receiving end of this fucking discrimination many fucking times. I have been there. I have done that. I know this side of the fucking fence. In and out. I have stood on this fucking pedestal for ages. It took me months to find someone to do my first model until B was like immediately there, right? And that was her first model. But this is the truth of the VTubing space, of the male VTubing space. This is the thing Cha-Cha didn't say. And I'm going to be honest. It's going to require somebody large to have an opinion on this. But no woman is going to say anything. Because it would discredit their own growth, and they don't want to do that. Even though we can blatantly, obviously fucking see that the discrimination on Twitch's growth, on Twitter's growth, in the VTuber community itself is fucking there. We can see it with our own two fucking eyes. You can find it everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere, it's always fucking there. I have been on the receiving end of this for ages. 3 years. 3 years. Been here 3 years. And boy, is it not fun. And it really feels like people who need to be in the position to talk about it aren't doing so. But it's also not like it's gonna matter. At the end of the day, your viewers like what your viewers like. If your viewers want to watch women streamers, they can. That's power to them. I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to say it's wrong that they don't like watching male VTubers or male streamers. Emphasis that I'm using the word streamers, not just VTubers. Or that your whatever who's watching wants to watch you for, wants to watch male or female or just male. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they pick who they want. And it is a large discrimination in that men and women are looked at quite a bit differently. And yes, I will say, for women, it's a lot of sexualization. It's a lot. And regardless of your opinion on sexualization or being sexualized, but I also don't think many female VTubers will say there's a problem because most of them probably don't even recognize there is one. Like, it's not just on their radar. That is also possible, that they don't recognize it. But I don't know. It might be a thing below them, not in a negative connotation, but in a way that they don't quite get to see it. I do think that is the case, or that is possibly part of the case. But regardless, obviously you can say, oh, I don't like being sexualized. I whatever, right? There's an obvious display of embracing the sexualization in the VTuber community. It's not hard to see. You can embrace it, and that's, again, power to you. I'm not hating the player. I'm hating the game. I don't hate the player. Honestly, if that's what you want to do, look at me. I have a womb tattoo. That's fine. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to do. But there is, take the skirt off is crazy. There is a discrimination there, and there is a sexualization on one side. It does happen to men models. I'm not going to diss it. There are some people there are men out there who are sexualizing their models too. They're big, they're buff, they're burly, they have fucking like sheer see-through shirts. It's a thing. I'm not gonna say it's not a thing. It is a fucking thing, and I'm not gonna diss, and I'm not gonna say it isn't. And before anybody says, oh, it's not a thing, it took me 5 seconds. It took me 5 seconds scrolling on Twitch to find it. Live, by the way. Not hard. The sexualization on both sides does exist. That's a big streamer, by the way. Yes, he is playing The Sims 4. That is a big streamer. 200 views. And I think that it's fine. And I think the sexualization is there and there's no issues with it. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say there's a problem with it. But it is heavily leaned in one side than the other. That's mean. Can't believe I was bonked. It does lean one side to the other, 100%. I think it does. And she didn't say it. I wish she would have. I'm not harassing Cha-Cha for not saying it because I can understand it's a touchy topic. But there also has to be the understanding that it is there. And to, I think, better sum up what she wants to say, or to sum up better what she said, because I don't like what she said. I don't like what she encourages. I don't like the idea of making people go to YouTube and find a niche content and make content on it. And then once you're done with that, go to Twitch. I don't like that. And I don't think that is the way content creation should be looked at. I think it needs to be looked at in a way that, yeah, since YouTube and Twitch audiences don't really cross over like that. They really don't. YouTube and Twitch does not cross over like that very well. It needs to be looked at as a whole. I think if I was to give any advice to people looking to enter the male VTubing space, honest, genuine advice, it would be to find a mindset. It would be find a mindset that drives you. Find the thing that makes you want to make content. And if that comes from a place of hate, if that comes from a place of spite, anger, rage, happiness, joy, love, whatever, find it and fucking grind. Make shit tons of fucking content. Put everything every day out on the fucking table every day. Post as often as you can on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you have content, Instagram, I don't care. Post every fucking day and absolutely work your fucking ass off. And it may take you years to find that growth. It may take you forever to find that growth. Stream when you can. Make content when you can. Do whatever the fuck it is that you can fucking do. Do it and do it good. I'm not saying you have to edit every video. I'm not saying, especially if you're doing YouTube content, don't diss long form content. A lot of that really isn't super edited, and some of it isn't edited at all. Look at my videos. And don't fucking stop with any of it. If YouTube starts to take off, keep going with it. If Twitch starts to take off, keep going with it. But don't neglect either or, especially if you really want to create content on Twitch. If you want to create content anywhere, just fucking dive it. YouTube content sucks making. I understand editing videos. I hate editing videos. Editing videos sucks. Editing videos is dog shit. Editing videos is probably the most annoying, tedious fucking thing you could ever fucking do. Especially if you're not well-rounded in editing and you have to learn how to edit for the first time. You gotta do it. It's not gonna be fun. It's It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You can do it. So, to really wrap it up, though it may be hard, though it may be a pain in the ass to climb as a male VTuber, and you may be fighting an uphill battle, you are going against the grain, you are fighting from point A to point B, swinging at everything in the way. You gotta take it to the chin. And you're gonna have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and keep going. Hope for the best, and honestly, make risky decisions from time to time. And I'm not saying do what I did. I'm not saying quit your fucking job and fight and hope and pray. I'm saying make risky decisions, try crazy things, but don't fuck yourself. Just is what it is. Just is what it is. But yeah, to really wrap that up, I think, that's about it. If you're going to be a male VTuber, just be ready to fight uphill and be ready to take punches to the chin. You're going to have days where you have low viewers. You're going to have days where you have a video with 5 views. You're going to have days where your content doesn't go anywhere. You're going to have days that are like that. But just go. Take it. Fight from start to finish and just don't give up. Best you can do. Same goes for anybody in the content creation scene, in all honesty. You're going to have those days. Just don't give up. It's just how that works. Sad to think about, but I feel like this is food for thought for everybody looking to make content. I really think it is.